Good afternoon, folks. Oops, that moon having a great time, look. Top of the world, isn't it? Look. Got a crisp moon. Salt and vinegar. Look, it's better off up there at the moment. We spoke about this. It was staged last night, wasn't it? You right up there? All right. Couldn't do that again in 1,000 hits. In 1,000 hits. Well, it's up in the sky, isn't it? Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's alive. Right, I'm staying up here. Well, folks, I said the proof is in the pudding. I still haven't done the other one, but I don't really think there is a... Somebody said, with the patterns you're doing, why don't you use AI? Because doing it manually is how you learn. If I got AI to go, right, give me a chart or whatever of new full moon, third quarter, new moon, first quarter, etc., etc. Bang, it pumps it out. I have missed everything. It's not just getting the information. It's how you get the information. That's where you learn to think. This was a nightmare. And this was just copying. Kind of. There's a couple of things going on here. And then we've got this one over here. Now which one? Right, we're going to do this one first. We're going to do this one first. We're going to look at some waves in the North Sea. And then we'll come over to here. This one could go on for quite some time. It really could. Bundaberg tide chart 2026. Now I have copied the whole tide chart onto that board for a reason. I did this on a white board about a month ago, 3, 4, 5 weeks. There it is. And don't know, those of you who may remember, the whiteboard's probably there somewhere still. I don't think I rubbed it off. Where it shows the full moons going like that, getting a little bit further forward each month. So here we're on January the 3rd, February the 2nd, March the 3rd, April the 2nd, March the 2nd. Oh, that's right, it goes backwards. So that's now May 31st, June 30th, July the 30th, August the 28th, September the 27th, October the 26th, November the 25th, December the 24th. It's going back. I don't know what it was supposed to be. Who knows if this is how it was supposed to be? But something's odd. And this is why you have to do it manually. January the 3rd. It's the first phase of the year. So full moon on the 3rd. 8 days until January the 11th, and that's the 3/4 moon, or 3/4 phase. Then we have 8 days until January the 19th, when it's the new moon. And then 7 days until January the 26th, it's the first quarter. Then 7 days until Feb the 2nd, it's the full moon. Ignore the yellow, green, blue, the big number. So I've gone and got every phase, right? New moon, first quarter. Full moon, third quarter. New moon, 4 phases every month. The red number is the days until the next phase. Now you'd think it would be 7 all the time in a week, or 8 all the time, or at this. So full moon, the next phase is a 3/4, 8 days, and then 8 days till the new moon. 7 days until the first quarter. 7 days until the full moon. 7 days until the third quarter. 8 days until the new moon. 7 days until the first quarter, and then 7, 8, 8, 7, 7, 8, 7, 7, 8, 8, 8, 7, 6. May the 17th, it's a new moon. In 6 days, May the 23rd, it's the first quarter. 6 days in between the new moon and the first quarter, and there's another 6. September the 27th, it's a full moon this time, because that one is a new moon. Full moon, 6 days till October the 3rd, where it's the 3/4. There's 1 9. 1 9. Pretty sure it was only 1 9. 1 9, 2 6s, and the rest is 7 and 8s. How is that possible? I don't know. I'm not even going to pretend to come up with an explanation. You would think that between a new moon and the first quarter, it would be a standard set of days. Obviously not. It's looking like, because we've got January 30, 31, February 28, leap year 29, February, March 31, April 30, May 31, June 30, July 31, August 31, September 30, October 31, November 30, December 31. Apparently, there was a time when there were 11 months, no, 10 months, all with 30 days. And then there was some, I don't know, look, slightly above the old pay grade at the moment. This was knowing, I knew there was no pattern, and if there was, this was going to be the only way to find it. There's no pattern. It's bizarre. Now, the thing about my red numbers, you can forget Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the 3rd, the 5th, the 6th, February, June, December. Irrelevant. The number of days. Even if there were no Monday, Tuesday, no 1st, 2nd, no anything, no months, this is purely the amount of days in between each phase. That's it. 8, 8, 7, 7, 7, 8, 7, 7, 8, 8, 7, 7, 8, 7, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 8, 8. So with a leap year, you get 29 in Feb. So that would be Feb the 24th, and we've got 7 days until March 3rd. So Feb 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. They're all right. So that would be 29, wouldn't it? There's just zero pattern. There's no pattern. And then this colour, yellow, blue, green, what I did was jump from full moon to full moon, full moon to full moon, right? Now, from January the 3rd, there are 30 days to the next full moon, Feb the 2nd. From Feb the 2nd, there are 29 days to March the 3rd. March the 3rd, there are 30 days until April the 2nd. There are 30 days until May the 2nd. There are 30 days until May the 29th. There are 29 days till June the 30th. There are 30 days, and so on. So we've got 30, 30, 29, 30, 29, 30, 29. Now that's in between each full moon. Would you not think there would be a pattern, like 28, 28, 28, or 29, 29, 29. I don't understand. I don't understand. Now the thing is, this is the days, the amount of days. How could anybody tamper with the moon times? Look, again, I don't know. What I do know is there's no pattern. If there is, it's, well, in there somewhere, but I cannot see it. 8877, 8877, 7877, 8877, 8778, 8768, 8778, 8679. I'm a find as a pattern. Ah? You could either. Well, thanks for letting us know. Now, we've got the other one over there to do. Now we're on 11 minutes. I'm going to pause. All right, so we're going to go up to the North Sea. Moon came down. Remember, moon's orbiting us along the equator. Okay? Equator's down here. We have, this is the North Sea, right? This here, just above between UK, Norway. So that's the Bristol Channel. Third highest tide. Bay of Fundy, first. Ungava Bay, second. And the Cook Inlet in Alaska, the fourth. And then we have Los Gallegos, in southern Argentina, as the fifth. But we're not going to use that for now. I don't think we need to. So this is just a little bit of a North Sea. This is way, way, way away from the bulge, okay? This is where stuff shouldn't be happening. What's happening here should be happening along the equator.
The North Sea is the 220,000 square mile body of water between Great Britain, the Netherlands, and Norway. It's been the center of geopolitical affairs since the rise of the Vikings, and rulers from every northern European country have sought control at one point or another. The North Sea also serves as Europe's primary fishery, with over 5% of all international fish caught in its waters. The fishing boats are built to withstand some monstrous waves, but sometimes the water gets a little too rough for comfort. In February of 2011, one crew learned how mighty the North Sea can be.
I do know the birds are loving it, aren't they? Just like loving it. Nothing, no big deal at all. You always see them flying about. Doesn't matter how windy it gets, right? All right, that's probably about everything we're going to see. It's a bit windy, but there's not massive swells, is there? All right, I'm going to pause and I'm going to find the good ones.
Nearly capsized when it encountered the full force of the ocean. The Sikkim Padua, an oil tanker sailing off the coast of South Korea, gets caught in a string of tsunami-like waves. The worst place to get hit with a big wave is from the side. So, the entire crew probably held their breath when one of those monsters approached off the starboard flank. The wave tips the vessel to a 40-degree angle, nearly capsizing it. Thankfully, she rides up and over the wave and crashes down on the other side. As of April of 2020, there were 810 very large crude carriers, or VLCCs. They carried about 1.86 billion metric tons of crude oil back and forth, and all that oil is worth a lot of money. Depending on the destination, it takes between 4 and 6 weeks to send a tanker from North America to Europe. Those ships must sail across the North Atlantic Ocean, where the waters can get pretty choppy during severe storms. In February of 2021, a chemical tanker was making the cross-continental journey when it got caught in a bad storm for more than 3 days. Waves tossed the ship around like a log on the river, and the captain did everything he could to keep the vessel from capsizing.
The wind.
The waves get bigger as the chem tanker rides up and down. Water even splashes up to the bridge where the crew is filming. At one point, the camera zooms in on a monster headed for the ship. The tanker rides up and down before crashing clean through another wave, bringing visibility down to 0. Thankfully, the crew and captain weathered the multi-day storm and arrived safely. Technology evolved, and today we have modern fishing trawlers that can withstand some incredibly rough water. In March of 2021, one of those ships, the Audacious, was tested off the coast of Scotland.
Look at the birds, loving it. Right, get this up there.
Determining when it's safe and unsafe to set sail. It all leans on the Beaufort scale, a system that rates the severity of wind out on the open ocean. It ranges from 0 to 12, with 0 meaning super calm and 12 meaning hurricane force winds. On August 16th of 2021, an oil tanker in the North Sea got to see what storm force 12 wind feels like.
Remember, this is all up north, way from the equator. Let's see.
Winds blew between 70 and 80 knots as the tanker bowed up and down on the North Sea. It's certainly big enough to withstand the storm, as long as it takes the waves head on. Then, our cameraman looks out the window and sees how badly the ship rocks from side to side. Countries will issue warnings depending on the Beaufort scale. In most cases, anything above a 6, meaning wind speeds upwards of 25 knots, results in a small vessel warning. Winds between 10 and 11 result in a storm warning, and 12 usually ends in a hurricane. In 1946, meteorologists added forces 13 through 17 to the Beaufort scale to account for tropical cyclones. Today, China is the only country that uses the extended scale. So, we're ready to forget 2020, right? Things couldn't have gotten worse between the pandemic, forest fires, and murder hornets.
I missed one.
That is, it encountered some not-so-tropical weather. Known for its rough waters, the bay has claimed plenty of ships throughout history. This cruise ship wasn't the first, and it won't be the last. The static camera doesn't do this video much justice. Those are massive 20-foot waves they're sailing through, made even bigger by strong winds. Every time the Columbus crests over a wave, it lands with a huge splash, sending ocean water and foam as high as the bridge. The MV Columbus has been bought and sold several times since her maiden voyage in 1988. The COVID-19 pandemic pretty much grounded the Columbus for good, and a Greek shipowner named Marios Iliopoulos bought her at auction for $5.3 million. He sold it for scrap in 2021, with experts estimating its scrap value at $13.5 million. The Bay of Biscay isn't the best place to be in the wintertime. Severe weather is almost guaranteed as depressions enter from the west and head north towards the UK or southeast to the Mediterranean Sea. The storms bring constant rainfall to the area, and powerful wind can make sea travel rather dangerous. A Navy ship learned how rough the Bay of Biscay can be in March of 2009. The 12,000-ton ship got tossed around like driftwood in Storm Force 10 waves.
All away from the equator. Well, this one was set near the Mediterranean, wasn't it? So it's closer than the other lot. Right.
The MV Ushuaia is a cruise ship built in 1970 that specializes in expeditions to Antarctica. It's an ice-strengthened ship that accommodates 84 Antarctic enthusiasts in cozy cabins. But when Ushuaia heads through Drake's Passage, everyone on board gets the ride of their life.
That's down. Ain't no disco.
The crew clearly knows what to expect, as one person comments on how the next wave might be a good one, and he's right. The ship crashes into the ocean, and a massive wave reaches the bridge windows. Drake's Passage is rough because it's the convergence point of three oceans, the Pacific, Atlantic, and Southern, or Antarctic Ocean. There's also no landmass in sight to create resistance. Add some high winds into the mix, and you're looking at the worst place on Earth to take a cruise, unless you're into that. Modern expedition ships are built to withstand rough waters with state-of-the-art stabilizers.
And now this is well south of the equator.
Most passengers are okay with some crackers and a Dramamine.
We love a
In
bonus.
2015, a Russian ship traveling through Drake's Passage also got a chance to experience some of the most severe weather on Earth. The video unfortunately has no audio, but it's the images of the dimly lit sky and rough seas that show you all you need to know. Even with all the warning signs, people love braving the dangerous waters of Drake's Passage. So, how many ships are currently sitting on the ocean floor? Well, according to one source, Drake's Passage has claimed over 20,000 seafaring lives and serves as the graveyard for more than 800 ships. 140 million cubic meters of water surge through the Drake every second. That's like 5,000 Amazon rivers flowing between Cape Horn and the Arctic Islands. Waves get as big
Surged through. Way, way away from the equator.
as 40 feet in the open water, though surprisingly, many journeys are incredibly calm. Some voyagers even mock the Drake, calling it Drake's Lake due to their ultra-calm experience. Perhaps crossing the Drake is pure luck. One day, it might be smooth sailing. The next, you're getting tossed around like a bath toy. The journey from Finland to Belgium would take 28 hours by car, about 2.5 hours by plane, and about 2 weeks and a day on foot. You could also board a merchant ship from the port in Porvoo, Finland, and sail across the Baltic Sea and through the Kattegat, the strait between Denmark and Sweden. Next, you'll turn into the North Sea, where you can expect to face some rough waters en route to Belgium. In October of 2013, a chemical tanker headed for Antwerp met some rough waters on the last leg of the journey.
Voila, I'm dozing off. Right, hang on. That's the lack of sleep. What a host. I just closed my eyes. Lincoln. Oh. Look at this.
The chemical tanker lowers its engine power and braves the Storm Force 12 waves for almost 2 hours. It bobs up and down
Now,
on the North Sea, and water
you could see there's some serious wind, but the chop is not there, is it? It is chop. Let's not get too carried away. But it's not those monumental waves.
crashes over the bow whenever a new wave approaches. While the waves weren't big enough to be considered monsters, they were strong enough to slow the vessel down to 3 knots, or as we've learned, about 3.5 miles per hour. Imagine getting stuck in those waters for 2 hours. Some people can't even last 45 seconds on an amusement park ride. Clearly, international ocean trade routes aren't designed for the faint
All
of
right.
stomach. Let's leave navigating these.
All hands, hoist the colors high. Heave ho, thieves and beggars, never shall we die.
Hang on. Hang on. I'll be right back. I'll pause. Yeah, life doesn't stand still.
All hands, hoist the colors high. Heave ho, thieves and beggars, never shall we die.
Oh!
Our Earth has to offer.
That's God.
Yet these events are rarely witnessed and documented, as our seas are so unimaginably vast that the scenes shown here are seldom captured on camera. However, there are some ships that have already experienced such phenomena firsthand, the kind we are discussing here. And even though these recordings may seem very frightening at first glance, the large ships of our world are designed to withstand even such unreal conditions.
I think we saw this. Yeah, we did. Alright.
This includes various types of
Now this was one I wanted to show because of the wind. but there's no chop. Oh, it looks insane. See this wind, the storm, but as for chop, well, so it's not just the wind here. Look, that is blowing hard. But smooth.
Number 4. This ship ran out of fuel and had to get towed back to port through rough seas in the Indian Ocean.
All right.
Number 2. A cargo vessel gets smashed up in a powerful storm.
One where the front, I wonder if it's this way, I think it's a red boat. The nose goes, it splits in two, bang! And they're like, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday! It's like, just the front just went crack. I wonder if it is this one. I will find it if it's not this one. Something is causing that swell. It isn't the wind. Not just the wind. Remember, all this up north, these are all North Sea ones again. Right.
Number 1. A rescue vessel gets hit by a monster wave while sailing through Storm Force 12 conditions.
A round globe, 8 centimeters per kilometer. Serious out there.
Click here to watch the next video, and don't forget to subscribe.
This is Saltstraumen in northern Norway, and it's home to the world's fastest tidal current.
Maelstrom.
At high tide, the Atlantic waters rear up by nearly 2 meters, forcing water through this narrow passage at speeds of over 37 kilometers per hour.
And why? Why? It's nowhere near the equator. Why is this not happening down by the equator?
Creating a cauldron of whirlpools, known as a maelstrom. Skipper Eston Skullerud and his fluffy friend Odin take fearless explorers on tours of this astonishing force of nature.
Right. Pause. We don't want to watch this.
This is for my body. This is Saltstraumen in Norway, the world's strongest whirlpool that most people don't know exists. Every 6 hours, a terrifying 400 million cubic meters of water rush through a narrow 150-meter channel. This powerful flow creates massive whirlpools up to 33 feet wide and 16 feet deep. And the scariest part? These massive whirlpools can appear in minutes, dragging everything down into the deep water. This place literally...
Okay, so this, again, up with the maelstrom. This is where I say, how can that not be coming from the bottom up? That does not look like current. It's coming from north, south, east, west. It's coming from the bottom up. Look at that. Very left to right.
One of the earliest and most consequential disasters occurred during the height of Arctic whaling. For American whaling ships
See, look where we are again. Bering Sea, up north. Always. 99% of the time.
targeting the western Arctic, the Bering Sea was unavoidable. Every vessel bound for the Chukchi Sea had to pass through these waters, then funnel north through the narrow Bering Strait, a point beyond which retreat was no longer guaranteed. In 1871, that passage led directly into catastrophe.
Right, don't need to see any whaling disasters. Yeah, it's not going to be. See, for me, this looks like something underneath is just pumping water out. Something. doesn't just look like a current going left, right. Equatorial bulge? Really? Along the equator? This is what we look like. That right there, look, 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 look. Something. Well, it's like that up there. Imagine what it's going to be like down at the equator with the moon orbiting. While we're here, we're going to wrap it up right with the TV now. I'm going to turn around, we're going to wrap it up. I can't believe I nearly dozed off in that chair earlier. I might as well just get loads of this in to finish up here, but we're going to do it. Now, this is the tide and water levels, okay? I'm just going to read a bit. Now, listen. Types and causes of tidal cycles: diurnal, semi-diurnal, mixed semi-diurnal, continental interference. They like that interference, so they get the interference pattern with light as well. If the Earth were a perfect sphere without large continents, all areas on the planet would experience two equally proportioned high and low tides every lunar day. The large continents on the planet, however, block the westward passage of the tidal bulges as the Earth rotates. Hang on. Give the moon a break, okay? Right, obviously a lot further away. The large continents on the planet, however, block the westward passage of the tidal bulges as the Earth rotates. Unable to move freely around the globe, these tides establish complex patterns within each ocean basin that often differ greatly from tidal patterns of adjacent ocean basins or other regions of the same ocean basin. Three basic tidal patterns occur along the Earth's major shorelines. In general, most areas have two high tides and two low tides each day. When the two highs and the two lows are about the same height, the pattern is called a semi-daily or semi-diurnal tide. If the high and low tides differ in height, the pattern is called a mixed semi-diurnal tide. Some areas, such as the Gulf of Mexico, have only one high and one low tide each day. This is called a diurnal tide. The US West Coast tends to have mixed semi-diurnal tides, whereas a semi-diurnal pattern is more typical of the East Coast. Now, you know what the strange thing is? They didn't explain why. They've given us the names of this stuff, but they didn't say, right, a semi-diurnal tide occurs because up north, water. Something is displacing the water. You never get an explanation. They just tell you names. Oh, that's semi-diurnal. That's diurnal. That's Mickey Mouse, right? Semi-diurnal tide cycles. An area has a semi-diurnal tide cycle if it experiences two high and two low tides of approximately equal size every lunar day. Many areas on the eastern coast of North America experience these tidal cycles. Okay, why? What's actually doing it? Mixed semi-diurnal tide cycles, lower middle, I'll show you in a minute. An area has a mixed semi-diurnal tidal cycle if it experiences two high and two low tides of different size every lunar day. Many areas on the western coast of North America experience these tidal cycles. But why? What? Hello? Diurnal tide cycles, upper left, I will show you. An area has a diurnal tidal cycle if it experiences one high and one low tide every lunar day. Many areas in the Gulf of Mexico experience these types of tides. But why? How do they happen? What is happening? Semi-diurnal tide cycles. An area has a semi-diurnal tidal cycle if it experiences two... Oh, did I say that one? Maybe. Last one. Mixed semi-diurnal tide cycles, lower middle. An area has a mixed semi-diurnal tidal cycle if it experiences two high and two low tides of different size every lunar day. But why? Can you not see? They are telling you the names diurnal, but they are not once saying right. The reason for this is because this is the thing. They're not telling you, they're telling everyone that the moon, the bulge, absolute garbage. There is no bulge. You can see what's happening up north. It's the reason why I put quite a bit of that on, to get a proper feel, the maelstrom, all of it. We're being lied to. There is no bulge. I am fairly convinced that this bulge has been fabricated because there is none to support a spinning globe. I'm serious now, I'm not joking about anymore. The amount of water pumped and displaced has created 4 centimeters of actual spin. What's that suggesting? It's such an absurdity. What is it suggesting? Right? All of it. The moon orbiting. What is it suggesting? Honestly. Now, these are the things that they're on about. Top left, top right. But this here, let me just double this over so we can see. Now, don't forget, all of that, tides and water levels that I just read out, all of it, right, didn't once give an explanation for why. They're telling you what names, oh yeah, high, 2 highs, 2 lows, whatever, but not why. Now, if you look at the white, right, we have diurnal tides. Now, you have to look at something here. If you know your geography, what we have is on this side here, you see, oh, sorry, out there we go. South America, right? Gulf of Mexico. See all that white in there? That is diurnal tides in the Gulf of Mexico, right? More diurnal up that'd be Alaska and everything, wouldn't it? And all the way down the Japanese coast, that's Russia and Japan. See that white? It's the white line. Then we have, this would be, so that's Australia, so we have, is that the Philippines and everything in there. Now, do you notice something about those diurnal, right? They are all in areas, and I just noticed that they're in areas that are kind of shielded from down there, aren't they? If you look at that properly. And on this side, you've got, that's the Gulf of Mexico, so that's the Atlantic all the way down. You've got that big channel, all of that water coming from up there, excuse the hands, I've been digging and all sorts, comes flying down there. You get the crazy tides, that's all the Bering Sea, oh no, hang on, that's over there. But you've got all, this is the North Sea, North Atlantic, comes, Bay of Fundy is there, oh, there, right, and Ungava Bay further up. Then the Gulf of Mexico, sheltered, and it would miss, wouldn't it, and go straight down there. The one that I was saying that, I just realised that when I was doing the Australia one, Remember there was that one place, was it near Bruno? It was further south. I can't remember right now. There, I can't remember. It was taking 8 to 10 hours. It was really slow, almost like the Gulf of Mexico and that, like slowing down. Again, it's shielded, isn't it? It's protected from the main flow that's coming from up north. Now, it might seem like I'm going on a bit, but you have to understand, this isn't just something you just look at and go, oh, it's the moon. There's stuff happening. Moon. Right? But you can stop it now. Out you go. That's enough. That'll be you for the day, I think. Shut up. Right. Gulf of Mexico. Got this. High tide. Highest tide. Highest tide. Highest tide. 1, 2, and 3. Something's coming down. You've got Portugal. Gets it, doesn't it? Portugal gets it. The Bristol Channel gets it. And then Mediterranean Sea misses. It's sheltered, shielded by Portugal and Spain. Gulf of Mexico comes down here. It's sheltered, diurnal. Bang! Then you get east coast of Africa, west coast of Africa, South America. They get smashed all the way down here, don't they? Both coasts. And then Australia, that section that was protected here. Look. It's all calm here. I say calm. This is all protected. India, you've got East Africa. It's this area. It's protected from everything that's coming. This is it. This is it here, and this is it here. And the 5th highest tide, Los Gallegos, down at the bottom. Now we're looking at this on a globe. We'll have a look over there on the flat after. Right, let's knock this. We're getting to the end. And there is a massive kicker at the end. I don't think you'll be disappointed. If I'd asked AI to do it or I'd taken shortcuts, I cannot believe that it was staring all of us in the face, right? You'll see. Like, oh, God, I can't believe it. I bet there'll be people going, nah, I don't think that means anything. Of course it will. You'll see. Right, now, what I did on this side, the reason I did this over here is because the 3rd of Jan and 3rd of July. So the write-up says the 2nd of January and the 2nd of July. Let me just pause this because I've got papers everywhere. All right, we're getting there. Right, as you can see, I have done that little bulge, that little drawing, right? Inertia on the left, gravity on the right, and the moon's pull. Look, see how they've drawn it, right? Okay, I'm not exaggerating. If anything, mine's a bit smaller with the bulge. Right, the gravitational attraction between the Earth and the moon is strongest on the side of the Earth that happens to be facing the moon, simply because it is closer. This attraction causes the water on this near side of Earth to be pulled towards the moon. Right? Pulled towards the moon. So this is the bulge towards the moon, right? Bulge there, gravity, moon. A gravitational force acts to draw the water closer to the moon. Inertia attempts to keep the water in place, but the gravitational force exceeds it, and the water is pulled towards the moon, causing a bulge of water on the near side toward the moon. Boom, right? On the opposite side of the Earth, or the far side, the gravitational attraction of the moon is less because it is further away. Here, inertia exceeds the gravitational force and the water tries to keep going in a straight line, moving away from Earth. What? What are they talking about? Now, I said it was Neil, Mr. Tyson, friggin' Brian Cox. But how are people not understanding that this is a lie? How can people not see this? This is the worry. This is a lie. Are you telling me that these people up there don't know that they're being lied to and they're teaching the lie? I find that hard to believe. When they say science doesn't care about your common sense, do they mean because they don't have any either? This is where I'm at. This is bollocks. It's an insult. There is no bulge, for crying out loud. There is, see, look, I get frazzled. It's a lie. They're lying. NOAA, the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, are lying about the bulge, lying about the tides, lying about the water, lying about the moon's gravitational force. They are lying. Gravity and inertia act in opposition on the Earth's oceans, creating tidal bulges on opposite sides of the planet. On the near side of the Earth, the side facing the moon, the gravitational force of the moon pulls the ocean water towards it, creating one bulge. On the far side of the Earth, inertia dominates, creating a second bulge. This inertia, this is suggesting that we should be hanging on for dear life, for crying out loud. They want their cake and our cake and everybody else's cake, and they want to eat all of it. In this way, the combination of gravity and inertia create two bulges of water. One forms where the Earth and Moon are closest, and the other forms where, look. The Sun also plays a major role, affecting the size and position of the two tidal bulges. The interaction of the forces generated by the Moon and the Sun can be quite complex. As this is an introduction to the subject of tides and water levels, we will focus most of our attention on the effects of this stronger celestial influence, the Moon. It has been fired. As we've just seen, Earth, anyway, as the Moon revolves around Earth, its angle, look, no. There is zero tidal bulge. Not much happens along the equator. We have all of that chaos up north. It's, honestly, I'm hoping that people understand that they're being lied to about this, and it's obvious to see. Right, now, let's go up to here now. 3rd of Jan. So what we have here, this was me. I started on the 3rd, but it was said to start on the 2nd. And so this is about the spring tides. Okay, the Moon is a major influence on the Earth's tides, but the Sun also generates considerable tidal forces. Solar tides are about half as large as lunar tides and are expressed as a variation of lunar tidal patterns, not as a separate set of tides. So what they're saying is, we can kind of mix and match whatever we want to say about the Moon and the tides, because every now and again they just go, and well, it's the Sun that's doing that. It's the Sun that's making that a little bit lower than usual. But it's not. It's rubbish. The solar tide has an additive effect on the lunar tide, creating extra high tides and very, very low tides, both commonly called spring tides. 1 week later, when the Sun and Moon are at right angles to each other, the solar tide partially cancels out the lunar tide and produces those neap tides that we know about when we have that. It's at right angles. I think we all know by now, but just to make sure, I'm not coming this far to take a shortcut now. All right, there we are, bottom right hand corner. New moon, when Moon and Sun both on the same side, pull in big water. That's the highest tides we get. This is the first quarter where Sun, Earth, and the Moon has gone from there to there, right? So the Moon was there, but it's gone to there. And this is where we get the neap. They say that this counters out this. Low tides, rubbish. And this full moon, this is when you get the least tides. If it was about gravity, pure common sense, right? Sun is pulling that way, Moon is pulling that way. They do not complement each other in this position. Together, the gravitational pull of the moon and the sun affect the Earth's tides on a monthly basis. When the sun, moon and Earth are in alignment at the time of the new or full moon, this one and this one, the solar tide has an additive effect on the lunar tide. Rubbish. A lie. A lie. That is wrong. Creating extra high tides and very low tides. Both commonly called spring tides. 1 week later, when the sun and moon are at right angles to each other, the solar tide partially cancels out the lunar tide and produces moderate tides known as neap tides. During each lunar month, 2 sets of spring tides and 2 sets of neap tides occur. How? It would be all here. You don't count, the moon's pulling that way, the sun's pulling that way. This is the bit where you can see it and they're just saying, no, the sun is not directly behind the moon during a solar eclipse. That's what this is. That is what this is. Yes, there is curvature. No, there isn't. Just as the angles of the sun, moon and Earth affect tidal heights over the course of the lunar month, so do their distances to one another. Because the moon follows an elliptical path around the Earth, the distance between them varies by about 31,000 miles over the course of a month. Once a month, when the moon is closest to the Earth at perigee, tide generating forces are higher than usual, producing above average ranges in the tides. About 2 weeks later, when the moon is farthest from the Earth at apogee, the lunar tide raising force is smaller and the tidal ranges are less than average. A similar situation occurs between the Earth and the Sun. When the Earth is closest to the Sun, perihelion, which occurs about the January the 2nd of each calendar year. Right, now I put January the 3rd. And the reason I put the 3rd was because it's this year, 2026, it was the full moon. Now, it would be the 2nd in the US. It made sense, right? Bang. So I started this one on the 3rd, and over on this other one, it's the 3rd of Jan, full moon. It then says, about January the 2nd each year, the tidal ranges are enhanced. When the Earth is furthest from the Sun, around July the 2nd, so the obvious thing to do was put the 3rd, because I did that one the 3rd. In the US, we get to the 2nd first. By the time you guys get to the 2nd, we're on our way to the 3rd. So that made sense, okay? Now, here we go. Are you ready? The elliptical orbits of the moon. Right, now this is the bit, folks. All right? Let's go up. And we are looking 3rd of Jan. The reason I picked these 3rd, because it's the day after. Now, full moon, right? We're looking at the highs at the moment at 0823 AM, 3:55. That's a pretty high tide. That's nearly as high as we get. And then we've got a low at, what's going on here? 1:50 AM, 0823 AM, 14:55 PM. See, made a mistake. That's throwing me, that was. 14:55 PM. And that's 08. All right, excuse me for that one. Hey, it's been a long couple of days, right? This doesn't really matter, but it's the, what's that? A. 3:55. This is the 3rd of Jan. The 4 tides on the 3rd of Jan. 3:55. The second one, 8:45, 2.64 meters. Right? 3rd of July. The high tide at 10:25 PM, 8:23. We're looking at the highest, right? Now look, 3:55, 294, 264, 294 or 237. This is where it gets insane. We are talking about a moon that's 300, on average, 384,000 kilometers away, right? 384,000 kilometers. Now, what that? It's the 160, 320, 200 and something miles. Okay, 100,000. I can't remember right now. There is a difference of 31,000 miles from closest to furthest, about 50,000 Ks, right? 50,000 Ks between closest and furthest. Jan, July. Now look what we are doing. That moon, that gravitational pull, with a difference of 31,000 miles, and you're telling me that there is a difference. We're looking, the maximum gap between this lot is 355 to 0.47, 3 meters. So that moon is that far away, and we've got the sun 150 million kilometers away. Earth, I think the difference is about 5 million kilometers between furthest and closest. 3 meters. This is 1, 2, and look, up to the roof, 3 meters. That is what we're talking here in Bundaberg. All of that moon and sun and the apogee and the perigee and the whatever you want to call it with the freaking neat tides, and over the whole year we are seeing a difference in Bundaberg of just 3 meters. All of that tidal bulge, 3 meters over the entire year. Doesn't get much higher than 355, and for the low, oh right, we've got a 118, we've got a 0.47, could be the lowest. Here it is. Can you not see what I'm saying? First quarter, the 11th of January. So, that's right, full moon. We have 355 for the mega high, right? This is now the first quarter, the neap, this position. They say, oh, it's the real low tides. 235, 238, only a meter 20 below the highest tides. About there. There. That is the difference between the highest and the lowest here in Bundaberg. All of that distance, we see the moon coming over. You get this impression that the tides are... No. Now, Bay of Fundy, right? So it's got the 50-footers, 50-foot tides. The moon's doing the same thing, isn't it? But they say that it's because of the channels. You saw the time lapse. This freaking open bay. It's a massive open bay. Why is there 50 foot of tide, of run there near the north? Why has the Bristol Channel got massive tides way up north? Why is it, in fact, that the 4 highest tides on Earth are all up north? And as you move further down, you've seen Gulf of Mexico, further away you get from the, I was going to say equatorial bulge. When you're at the equatorial bulge, it's where it calms right down. But they are telling you that that is where the bulge is. It's the insult. It's back to front. They have done it again, right? It is obvious that up north, is where the action is. It's quite obvious that there is no tidal bulge. There is no tidal bulge because there probably is no spinning planet, folks, right? All of this, these 2-3 meters between us over the entire year, full moon, quarter moon, the pattern, there is no pattern. It's just ridiculous. The moon, if it does affect the water, if somehow something is linked with something that we don't know about, something underground that's happening with these, that you can see the maelstrom, that is not just flowing water, it's coming. Look, one thing is for sure, it is not the moon. Another thing for sure, there is no gravitational bulge. Slam dunk and slam dunk. If the moon has got something to do with the tide, because we have that new moon position, it's a massive coincidence. New moon, it's when we get the highs of the tides, but only by a meter. It's not like it's, but in the Bay of Fundy, it is very high. Bay of Fundy, be there. Ungava Bay, there. The Cook Inlet, there. The Bristol Channel, there. The Maelstrom, Norway, there. It's all here. Down here, Gulf of Mexico. Look, I even put little white lines in last night. Look, diurnal. This water smashes down here, but it misses. Misses. Los Gallegos, the 5th highest tide, down by Antarctica, or the ice wall. Australia up here, protected. You get that? There's nothing here. All of this, I put the white line. Look, that diurnal. It's all protected. There are 2 ways of being fooled. One is to ignore the truth, and the other one is by believing the lie, folks. Now, I need to take a couple of days. I need to get into some rocks. I need to do I just need to sleep and eat. There is no pattern. I don't know what this was supposed to be. It's talking about women's menstruation cycle as well. Remember, 28 days? I saw something pop up the other day on that. Everything is out. Everything is out. Everything is out. Somehow, you cannot believe that that is normal. I don't know what normal would be. None of us do. But I tell you what it wouldn't be. That it's just too far out. The days, 8 days, 8, 7, 7, 7, 8. But how could anybody tamper with the phases of the moon? The only thing I keep thinking to myself is it's not on the 23rd, but the first quarter. It could be on the 24th. And this may be on the 16th. Give or take a day. I sometimes go out there on a full moon and go, when I haven't looked at the charts for a while, and go, might be a day off. Easily done, right? Easily done. But this 6 days, look, this isn't right. There was a time when there was, I think it was 10 months or 13, something, but it flowed. Now we're stuck between the poor moon, I know, sorry, the poor moon and its cycle, and the sun and its cycle. You'd think that they would have sorted the sequence out by now, right? You wouldn't think for a second that the sun and the moon could ever be out of sync, for crying out loud. So what's going on? It's the sun and the fucking moon. How can they be out of sync? They say it's a lunar day or a solar day or a lunar tide, and sometimes it goes to the solar tide, but not always. And something is off, out, and it's created chaos for us because we were not meant for these patterns. No, I mean non-patterns. This is sabotage. That's what I think, and I think it's flat. They have just fucked everything up. Who is they? They're lying about everything. One other thing, where's that book? I'm just going to pause you one last time. We're nearly done. Hour 15. It's amazing the things that you can find at the right time. Right? So let's forget the one I wanted to get out of the way first. Top right. Where the moon is nearest to the Earth, the moon's tide raising force may be 40% greater than an apogee. 40%. 40%, and it's only raising it another meter. This is so ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Now, I'd have a quick scan, and there it was. Look, the currents, wind currents of the ocean. Let's just read this. I have never read this before. I read the first 4 lines and went, this is the one for me. Let's go. This could be us wrapping up. Wind currents of the ocean. Like tidal currents, wind currents occur in all parts of the sea. Remember, 1961, Book of Popular Science. Wherever and whenever the wind blows across the surface, it exerts a stress upon the water. If the stress is great enough and is continued long enough, the water begins to move. Slowly at first. Listen, the surface film is the first to be affected. Gradually, the water beneath it is also set in motion. The depth of the current will depend upon the strength of the wind and on the length of time it continues to blow in one direction. 1961, they're telling people that the actual current in the ocean is the wind. Water begins to move, slowly at first. The surface film is the first to be affected. Gradually, the water beneath it is all... Oh, God. The situation is complicated by 2 factors. The water is generally not homogeneous from top to bottom. Number 2, the Earth is not motionless. If, for instance, a layer of light warm water overlies colder, heavier water, the mixing, due to turbulence, will be checked and the current will be shallower than if this difference in density did not exist. Likewise, the direction of flow is altered from the surface downward because of the Earth's rotation about its axis. It's just too much. Round, round, round. Axis spin. It's right here, folks. This is the pattern. This is the pattern. It's flat. These are fucking lies. The deflection is to the right of the direction in which the wind blows in the northern hemisphere, to the left in the southern. It averages about 45 degrees at the surface and increases with depth until the current actually flows in a direction opposite to the surface flow, although at slower rate. I thought I was going to say Newton. The first person to note the difference between the direction of surface water flow and the direction of the wind was the Norwegian explorer Fridtjof Nansen. While his ship, the Fram, was drifting in the polar seas, this will be a story. In 1893 to 96, Nansen discovered that the ice drift was from 20 degrees to 40 degrees to the right of the wind direction. The direction in which a wind-driven current flows is also influenced by the depth of the water. In shoal water, it flows more directly before the wind. Direction is also affected by the contour of the coast and by the proximity of other currents. Listen. It's flat. Everything that they have done, it's just round, round, moon, freaking tidal bulge. There is no tidal bulge. I hope that some of this has gotten through and all of that tidal force. And here in Bundy, there's a difference of about 3 meters throughout the whole year. 31,000 miles difference. A sun, 93 million miles away, 150 million clicks. We are orbiting it and spinning on our axis, and declination, the moon's declination, the freaking bulge, 3 meters over the whole year. All right, this is Bundy up in Nova Scotia and Quebec and the UK. It's a different story. Why? Well, folks, it's gonna be a wrap, doesn't it? Excuse me for falling asleep. I'm uber tired. Been back and forth with the moon. It's been quite emotional for me. All right, so it's flat. There is no tidal bulge. There just isn't. And anybody who says there is, please take me to it. There's not. It's about common sense. It comes before this Mickey Mouse science. And that is why I said it would never get out of the gates. There is no bulge. If there is, why is everything happening up north? Why is nothing happening down at the equator? Something is displacing the water on planet Earth, and it's coming from up north. It's coming from up north, folks. Laters.